We are here today to celebrate an icon, not just for the African American community, but for America at large. Hazel Dukes has been on the forefront fighting for the rights of all people. She has fought for the integration of housing. And so today it is very much befitting that we celebrate Hazel Dukes with the renaming of the street after her, because this is a place where she faced discrimination and decided that instead of bowing down to discrimination, that she was going to stand up for what was right and stand up for the rights of all Americans.
In many ways, Dr. Dukes is in North Hempstead, is our Rosa Parks. Seal and I know that were it not for her, we would not be in this position.
She is an advocate not only for fair housing and civil rights, but she is an advocate for young people who want to serve their communities. She supports all of us day in and day out. And it is especially appropriate that this ceremony is held in front of her former residence, Roslyn Gardens. She is a woman who is inspired, she's empowered, she's elevated women and people of color, not only in the state of New York, but all across this nation. And she established her reputation as a civil rights activist after moving to Roslyn Heights. Upon moving here, she felt the sting of systemic discrimination and school inequities. And so Dr. Dukes went to work organizing and leading the fight against housing discrimination. And we all know that that issue continues to this day.
I looked for mentors and role models and people to guide me on my way. And how fortunate for me that I lived just down the road. And I got to know a woman of strength, a woman of valor, a woman who had already made her mark. Wasn't expected that 18-year-olds still in high school would say, I want to run for a seat on the Board of Education. Hazel Dukes pulled me aside and said, you go for it. I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to mentor you in any way that I can.
Whether it was fighting against poor housing, against crime, for education, for poor and inadequate school facilities, and often failed actions of government that left people divided from others, it's people like Hazel who time after time came out and supported us.
Many who have given their lives for the cause of equality and justice. And we praise your name, for Hazel, Lord, is the leader of the pack. I thank the churches and the synagogues and the mosques and everyone here today.
There is nothing easier in a hard way than fighting racism. She came from Montgomery to Roslyn, and we were very lucky we met almost immediately. And we became friends, and we leaned on each other, as friends do. When Hazel knew she needed an apartment, she and another African-American woman went with her. They applied. They knew what answer they would get, but they applied. And they got the negatives, and goodbye. I'm sorry, we have nothing for you. And she called me as soon as she left, and she said, Marge, it's time to go. And I called our mutual friend, Lila Schachter, and she and I went in, not to our surprise. There were 3 apartments we could see right then and there. And the rental agent said, you come back to the office with me now, you can have a lease to sign. We called Hazel, and we called Farrell Jones. Farrell was an African-American lawyer who was the Long Island Regional Director of what was then called SCAD, the New York State Committee Against Discrimination. That day, Hazel got her apartment. Long Island is still one of the 10 most segregated places in the United States. The one place where we can say we had a difference is Roslyn. And that is what Hazel is fighting. And Hazel and I are going to continue to fight as long as there's breath. Right?
just to see her every day and interacting with folks, that just makes me like, okay, I can do that. If she could do that, I can do that. Just as well as my community and my members. Each and every one of them has taught me that, you know, being a wife, being a mother, working full time, you still have time for community service, and you still have time, even if it's 15 minutes, to go out into your community and uplift them, educate them, and inspire them.
This small town of Black people came together on one accord. Black and white, Jew and Gentile. But it was the church's young people and the synagogue. People believed in somebody bigger than they are. That's how we got it done. Not on our own. I wouldn't be standing here today. They wouldn't be naming a street after me today. They're doing it because all of you and all my children I had standing up here. And speak up, vote up, stand up. I paved the way for you. Don't be afraid. God is on your side. If you do right, only 2 blacks in a Delphi, all through my class, but I made it. So stand up. This is your day. I paved the way.